Hi, everybody. This is Chris.
This is Matt.
This is different.
It's a little bit different,
If you haven't noticed, there's something wrong on the screen.
and it's not my
It's
face.
not your face. It's not my face. It's not my annoying laugh.
Still with that.
Still,
No,
forever.
I hope. Thank God no one
Forever.
else has been mean to us on YouTube because I think that devastated you on some deep level that you're not quite ready to address.
I don't think it did. I just think it's so funny that he's got all these problems with the game, but he starts by going right for me. Just we're gonna hit Chris first, and then we'll go talk about the problems with the
Right. You got to open with the personal attacks so people know you're serious.
right. If you haven't noticed, this is not a typical game discussion show. This is definitely not a review. This is two assholes with an opinion on a game we played over the last month, or in the case of our short episodes, which is one of these, maybe we've spent a couple days on it because they're little games and you don't need a whole month to really understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
In this case, we're actually doing two games because they're really, really little from Snacking on Software, and they came out last year for the Apple II.
Right. That's what's wrong with the screen is that 2019, and you're probably saying, I thought you guys only did 20-year-old games, and the answer is leave us alone. We do what we want.
What we want. No, the platform's 20 years old. And this is why I can justify something like Scald, I'd love to cover, but I feel like it's not where we are, or Dead Cells, or Shovel Knight, or
Right.
about 100 other games that have a retro vibe, but they're modern.
Yeah. And we love that shit. Like, don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love it when people make those games, and I'm glad that they're being made. It's just not really our bread and butter.
Yeah, not what we're going for here.
What are you drinking there? Is that just coffee?
Yeah, just campfire from lovely Caribou. Are you drinking
nice.
anything over there?
I had a red flavored Monster Brand energy drink earlier.
Very good. Very good.
Sponsor us, Monster.
Monster.
Extreme retro gaming.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
We've got a better chance with the pickle people, I think.
I think we do. And if you're still watching, we are gonna talk about Snacking on Software's games, Darkstar Unhinged, and Oids.
Oids Zone.
Oids Zone. Sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Oids is another game that is on our list. So if somebody's out there's like, I want to do Oids, yeah, it's coming.
I really like to say Oid Zone, and I like that they lean into it, and they're like entering the Oid Zone. Yes. I got a big kick out of that. But are we going to start with some Darkstar Unhinged?
That's what I got on the recording first. Let's talk a little bit about Snacking on Software.
Yeah, I make a point to look up the people who make games when we talk about them. And I thought, with Snacking on Software, that there would be tons of information because it's modern and modern people put everything on the internet, but there's not a lot about snacking on. And I gotta say, I love what you're doing, but your website is really bad snacking on. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's going for a retro feel or what it's doing, but man, it's a rough one.
Well, it's not only that, but you can't find these games to download on the website. I had to go to a Facebook Apple II forum and find them there.
Yeah, you can send them money, I think, and get them.
Hard. He'll put it on a disc and put it in a bag and send it to you old school style, which is beautiful.
That
Please,
is
people,
awesome.
keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate the work and everything. Yes. I don't want to just slag off their website, but I want to know more about the people behind this, and I couldn't really find anything.
No, there's not much there. So
yeah.
Standard offer applies. Would you like to come on the show and talk about it? Snacking on Software.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you.
and like write yourself a Wikipedia article because it's time because people looked.
Yes. Yes, people looked. But yeah, you can purchase their stuff either directly through them or you can send them money and then go find the ROMs somewhere else.
Yeah. Did you send them money?
Yes.
I will make a point to send them money because I did enjoy the games a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's definitely worth $20 knowing how much work goes into
Making
this kind of assembly level, coding and stuff.
I'm glad we enjoyed the games because we almost didn't.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would have been a bad feeling if I hated these games and I thought that I did at first.
Yeah.
But we'll kind of talk about it. But
Right.
they have other games and they have stuff coming out too. So they have what is it? Alien Downpour, I believe, is out already.
I couldn't find it, but yes.
And then they have Lunar Rescue, Snack On, and
Invader Trader?
Invader Trader coming out.
In yeah.
And maybe a game called Suicide Chamber, but I couldn't tell like with the website if that was a picture from another game or it's hard to tell.
Right.
It's real hard to tell. But they're doing stuff, which is great. Like I'm
Right.
really happy because it's interesting. It's very interesting idea.
Yeah. And each of these games right now are takes on old arcade games. Oids more so than Darkstar. Oids is very much an asteroids game. You'll see that coming up here. This is more, if you remember Defender, if you remember any one of those side-scrolling shooter games.
I would call this slow Defender meets Sideways Galaga.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this game is because you can turn around like in Defender. You're in space. There's no real like
Ground.
ground or anything. Although I think there was ground in Defender, so that might
There
not
was
be
ground in
accurate.
Defender.
But the way the aliens come on the screen is kind of like Galaga. They come in formations, and but it's a good take on those
Yeah.
titles. It's not. It doesn't feel real derivative or anything. It feels
No.
like its own thing.
And it changes up with how the stuff's coming at you just enough that you need to actually learn some tactics.
Right.
Like, you can't just fly and shoot in one direction and it's going to work. Because some guy will come up at you from the bottom and you got to get out of the way. And there's bosses.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and Darkstar Unhinged has a really great kind of attitude about it. The plot is this is directly from the website. You are Deuce Darkstar, destroyer of worlds. You are fed up to here with cute alien races who beg for your help, defending them against the dark hordes, and then stiff you on the bill again and again. You're done. Let them burn. No, better make them burn. So you're just like wholesale murdering these cute alien races you once defended,
Yeah.
and when you die, there's these really great, like super negative messages, which I got a big kick out of seeing over and over again.
Do you have a favorite? I have a favorite.
I think my favorite was what was it? Fuck. I wrote it down because I liked it so much.
Was it the Everest one?
No, I did like the Everest one. There was one. So I listened to the Hardcore History podcast, and it's by this guy named Dan Carlin, and he has this great kind of gravelly voice. And there's one episode called King of Kings where he talks about he talks about, I forgot what it was about, but it's from the Bible. It's like the Feast of Balthazar or something, and this text appears on the wall, and the text says, I think it's Meeny meeny Tarkle you farson. It means like you have been weighed and found wanting. Someone who is familiar with the Bible or wherever the hell that appears is going to be very offended by this. but it's one of the messages on this game. Miney
Oh,
miney, uh, uh, Teckle you farson, and I
okay.
could
I
just
didn't know
hear,
that. That's
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, it's really good.
Mine
It's
was
got,
the Everest quote of every corpse on Mount Everest was once a highly motivated person. Like
yep, yeah,
what
great
I
stuff.
what I really love, because we are doing two games, so we're going to compare and contrast sometimes. This game is all these dark, give up hope, everything's awful, uh, something from like the demotivational posters I used to remember. Um, and Oids is all positive, happy, you can do it, we got this quotes. And
Yep,
just seeing the two, playing them at the same time and going back and forth was fascinating to me. Just
yeah, right. Right. They share that kind of the gameplay element, but it's like opposite sides
hmm
of the coin. Another thing I got a huge kick out of with Darkstar Unhinged was that curtain, because it's like
yes.
the one from Mario Brothers 3.
hmm That's immediately what I thought. I'm like, you stole the Mario curtain.
Yep. Good call. I
Good
love
call.
it.
Yep.
Good job. Yeah.
Like even the game over screens and stuff, they do a nice job of just stuff's always happening, always moving on the screen. There's always something to look at. Um, it feels Apple. It absolutely feels like something I would have played in the school lab in the 80s.
Totally.
It nailed
Yeah.
that.
Like I think the other old game we've played is Nox Archaist, and
hmm
that kind of asks the question, what if development had continued on the Apple
Yeah.
and modern sensibilities applied? These games ask the question, could you just make a really fun arcade shooter for the Apple and have it be cool? And the
Yeah.
answer is yeah, you totally can. Like it's a lot of fun. There's nothing super groundbreaking anywhere, but
No.
it's just a great time, and it brings me back to, like, for me it brought me back uh to like getting a disc from a friend with like five or
Yes.
six games on it, and this would be like one of them. And
Yeah.
you would know nothing about it, and you would start it up and just have fun with it every once in a while.
hmm
And here you're entering the Oid
I'm
zone.
entering the Oid zone now.
Yeah, what did you think of before we get off Darkstar Unhinged? What did you think of the gameplay, how it moved and everything?
I have very mixed feelings on Darkstar Unhinged. Like I said, there is stuff that keeps you changing the pattern back and forth because you got to occasionally do something different so that you don't get beat up. But I found most of the time I just pushed my guy all the way to the left or right, depending on which way I was flying, and
Hmm.
fired as fast as I could, and that took care of almost everything. Um, so the meat of the game where I should be playing, I ended up not really playing.
Yeah. So some of the controls I thought were a little weird. Like what happens is you push to the edge of the screen, and then if you stop, it feels like you're going faster backwards, but it's just the screen reorienting to you. I found that a little bit disorienting at first.
Yeah,
I got used to it. Um,
you do, but I think if they had just locked your uh, guy either in the middle of the screen and stayed there, or maybe a nudge to the left or right, like maybe an inch, um, would have been better.
yeah,
Because you would have seen what's coming on. You would have had a chance to see what do the cute little aliens that I'm burning look like,
right.
and I want to see what I'm burning. That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like at first the hardest parts are the guys that come at you from the top and bottom, because sometimes you just can't quite get away from those
yeah.
guys, which is cool because you have those moments like, oh shit, like it's here it comes, like I'm not going to get away.
hmm
Uh,
And then
and
you
once in
do
a while you can
sometimes.
get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a great experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. Like I definitely had fun playing it.
The bosses were good.
I thought the bosses were a little samey though. If, The first like couple, they all kind of do the same thing mechanically, but they were great. Like I loved the first boss's little Sally. It was fun.
What I like about the bosses is it added something that I didn't see a lot in the really old games. It is sort of a modern add-on to an Apple II game, even though we just talked about how it isn't asking what if we kept going with this. I still don't think it is. I just think it's one nod that they're like, this would be fun if we had bosses. And
Yeah.
they put them in, and it is fun. It changes it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, it was positive to get to the boss, and it kind of bookends the level because it's levels with different areas. I forgot what nomenclature they use, like different sectors or whatever.
Yeah.
So you go through like 5 sectors, and then you hit a boss, and then you're at the next level. It was fun.
Yeah. Which brings us over to Oid Zone. What'd you think of the controls for Oid Zone?
Pretty good. Like it was an interesting take on asteroids. I found it way more approachable because your thrusters stop inertia immediately versus asteroids where you're always kind of balancing that inertia. So I think it made it easier. The other major departure from asteroids is that your bullets don't wrap, but your ship does wrap.
Right. No, your ship wraps in asteroids. Oh, but your bullets do too. Yeah.
Your bullets do too. But here, once they go off the screen, they're done.
The thing that surprised me is we talked about the inertia stopping you instantly. And I'm sure a bunch of people who are really into asteroids are like, that's part of the game. And yes, I get that. This is more fun.
This is way more fun.
This is way more fun.
Yeah. This one grew, like, I think I had the opposite reaction where at first I was like, oh, Darkstar, I really like. Oid Zone, I'm not really compelled by. And then I started, for one, I suck at asteroids. Like, that's just true. It's not something I'm good at. But having the power-ups is a huge deal in this game. Like, it let me get further and enjoy the game more, and it was more approachable than asteroids. So this one definitely grew on me as I played it more and more. The first night I was like, oh, I don't think this is the game for me, but I ended up like going back to it and having a really good experience subsequent to that, where I got pretty far and it was really enjoyable, and I entered my name in the high score list, and that was it. And I went to bed.
For me, getting into these games was realizing what emulator or how to set up the emulator to play on, putting on the 2E enhanced, and getting that second button on my joystick working, on my gamepad working. Made a huge difference. But for Oid Zone, like, you'll watch me play this here, and I'm flying all over the screen. You would never do that in asteroids. I'm deliberately thrusting all over. That is so much fun.
Yeah, it's way better because it feels like you're dodging things instead of just trying to manage inertia. Yeah, by not moving unless you absolutely have to. So yeah, I think Oid Zone is successful as a asteroids influenced game, and like the different ships and things you encounter in the mines are cool. Like that's the kind of the obvious thing you're going to do with asteroids is put more ships in it. And they did, and it worked.
Yeah, it breaks apart into 3 instead of 2, and that's one of the things about the triple fire too. If you get the triple fire early, you can actually screw yourself pretty fast because you'll end up making lots of oids, and being in a tough spot. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yep. Man, I did like that though. I did like that. She can like fill the screen with bullets or whatever they are, space bullets.
Space bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back to Darkstar here. Like I said, these are quick. You're not. Do you want to mention the sound? I thought the sound was good on both.
The sound was fantastic on both of them. I really liked the explosion sounds. Everything was really good. I noticed when I was a kid, I didn't even know that the Mockingbird was a thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like in the retro Apple community, Mockingbird support is like a huge deal, and everyone wants it, and it's a big selling point for the more
Yeah.
modern projects.
Well, I
I
think it really took the audio up on the old Apple.
definitely,
So
yeah,
it's nice to have it there. Um, I liked the voice synthesis on Darkstar. The little attempt at him saying something. That
yeah.
was
That was the loudest thing on earth, though. When I put my headphones on, I didn't know if they were working. I turned it way up, and all of a sudden he was like screaming in my skull. It was horrible. But then I was like, yeah, I'm totally into this.
yeah.
And I love old voice synthesis. I think it
hmm
goes back to my. Uh, do you remember Doctor Sabatso? It was like a Sound Blaster
Mm-mm.
program you got, like if you were a rich kid and could afford a
What?
Sound
There's your
Blaster.
problem.
Yeah. It came with this program named Dr. Sabatso, and it would talk to you like a therapist. It was actually my first therapy experience too,
was
and it was just canned responses, so
oh
it
my
wasn't
god.
like, but it was a blast. Like I remember playing with that thing and making him say dirty stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to. Like that's the whole point of these robot voice things is
Yeah, right. Make him say dirty stuff. And now we
uh
have Alexa.
yeah. Um best moment, worst moment.
Yeah, the peak in the pit.
Peek in the pit.
Uh, the the peak for me was I got stuck on those flying fucking bird things in Darkstar Unhinged,
Mm-hmm.
and I had this great moment where I finally got past them and I felt really good, and then I like sailed through the rest of the level, and you know when it's going well, it's going really well in this game. So that was my peak, and my pit was that when I started on my, I think I was using Apple Win,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have a second joystick setup. So I had my first joystick was my controller, and my second joystick was my keyboard, and the second joystick button is managed by the second joystick. So basically, I didn't know that you could turn around, and I was like, I hate this fucking game, and I'm gonna have to go on YouTube and say all kinds of mean things about it
When
to this
somebody tried
person.
really hard.
Right, and they're like alive and they did it recently, and that feels a lot different than talking shit about something someone made, 30 years ago. But then luckily I sorted it out and
But
I was like,
should
"Oh,
it feel different?
it
we're
shouldn't,
still
but it does."
we're when it's I know it does. But it's like when it's 30 years ago, we're still shitting on somebody's work and other people's childhoods. Like
Yeah. Sorry, Chuckles.
sorry, Chuckles.
I still feel bad about that, but
Yeah. And there's our one per show. Um,
yep. Yeah.
um,
But it does feel different. Like because it's I think it's a lot of work to do this,
oh
or
yeah.
and it's always been a lot of work, but now it's so easy to do it the other way,
Oh yeah.
uh, the
The
Unity way
Unity
or
and yeah.
the whatever Unreal
hmm
way. I mean, those things are still not easy,
No, but
but they're
like
a
Lord
fuck a lot more convenient.
Richard Garriott had a good point about what the difference was between now and then. Is like right now, if you want to make a TV show, you buy a camera, you know what the cameras are, you just do it. But back then, back in this era of game development, it would be like making a TV show where you have to build your own camera before you can start recording the show.
Totally, yeah,
And people still doing this are building their own cameras before they record the show. There's some blueprints and there's some stuff out there so you can know what to do, but you still have to put in the work to do it. And
right,
you're gonna tweak it and you're gonna make it your own and it's gonna be your own thing. So I have nothing but respect for anybody building, old retro games or built retro games at the time. Um,
totally,
it's
yeah.
some of the
It's
most interesting.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank God I didn't have to do that because I ended up really having a good time and
Yeah.
being happy. Uh, but man, I was worried.
I
What
I
were
had
yours?
My pit was realizing in Darkstar could just be handled by pushing left and firing quickly. That takes care of most of it. There's still some moments in there, but it's just like, oh man, I was hoping more actiony zaniness, and I just wasn't getting that after a certain point. Uh, would still get it when they come from the bottom or when you get to the bosses, and I think that's why I really like the bosses in Darkstar is they make you stop flying as fast as you can
Right.
and just shoot.
What was that old Nintendo game where uh, was it Gradius where you fight like the flying Easter Island heads? I used to love that
I
game.
think
It had some
so.
really fucked up weird bosses, and and they were like always just really big, like
hmm
giant brains and shit. I really liked that game.
There's
But
another game that was might have been on Nintendo, but it was definitely in the arcade, and I spent so much money. And that was Forgotten Worlds, and it was a fly around game, but you had like a spinner, so you could shoot in all directions. You could stop in shops and upgrade your equipment.
cool.
And you ended up like flying through a giant space mummy, shooting his organs, and you'd fight other things, and like
Yeah,
it's just so weird and fantastic.
that
Uh,
sounds like Konami because I think a lot of the Konami games were like that, like
Probably.
fighting brains and organs and shit. Yeah.
Let's find out. Forgotten Worlds, Wikipedia. Capcom.
Oh,
Capcom.
Capcom. Maybe I meant Capcom. No, I think I
I
meant
think both.
Konami. Yeah. Yeah.
They have similar vibes to them. They started diverging in the late '80s where they got their own things, but I think early on they definitely have their own vibe.
Yeah.
My favorite part, oddly, was also a movement related thing, and that was in Oids. Realizing with that stop, if you get good at it, you can just fly all over shooting stuff. It just feels better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put it in myself if I was designing an asteroids game, but if I design one in the future, I will because it really makes the game way
It makes it easier and more fun.
it makes flying accessible. Otherwise, your best strategy is to hold still and spin.
Right.
With this, your strategy is to fly to open spots, shoot as much as you can, and that little bit of speed, love it. Love it.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Oh,
Uh,
also both games the power-ups are destructible. So be advised,
that's a good point.
you will hate yourself many times during this game. Like when you do what you just did and destroy a
hmm
power-up that you kind of need.
I didn't
Did you
realize power ups were a thing for a while in Darkstar because I was just at the edge of the screen. Uh,
right? I like the pod one that goes around your ship.
hmm
That was very useful.
Yeah.
The second laser,
hmm
it's real good.
No, I did eventually find those. I don't have them recorded, but I did eventually
Yeah.
find that. Um,
I'll, I will say one of my other complaints about this was that when it comes to the power ups, it's cool that it detects what you need and gives you what you need, but I didn't want ever to have the one ups because the continue system is so generous. It's just like, oh, yeah, continue. Same
well,
stage, starts you right where you stopped. So I didn't want uh,
the one ups.
the one ups. I wanted the lasers.
I think it depends on if you're going for score or distance.
Right. I was going for distance.
Right. And not a lot of that's the default way most people play these games. But if you want to actually like do a high scoreboard or something like that or put your name up on the top, then yeah, you need those one ups so that your score doesn't reset. And I
Right.
think that's a nice multiple ways to play the game. Like you can
Yeah.
we're going to let you have continues. So you can play all the way through and see everything and we're not going to penalize you too hard. You're playing an Apple II game for crying out loud.
Right.
Let's
Right.
be a little nice about it.
Right. You need all the help you can get if this is how you're spending a Saturday.
No, that's not nice.
Truth
That's
hurts.
truth
Truth
hurts.
hurts.
I mean, we are, so I guess
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
speaking of our own. Um,
Exactly.
but it gives you. It's kind of like how Doom would give you different ways to play. You can either play for speedrun or you can play for completion, but you're not going to get both.
Right. Right. Same with Oids Zone.
Same with Void Zone. You can keep continuing if you want, but you're going to lose your score, and that's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a good balance of fun and hard and like, and it doesn't waste your time. It's not like I never felt it was being disrespectful of me, of my ability to use skill or that skill's going to matter, but it's not so punishing that I don't want to.
Right.
EDF.
Yeah. Salty at EDF right now. Yeah. It had a good tone. It was a fun game. They were both fun. I like that you can choose your Oid style.
Yep. I like that you can
Very
choose
good.
your difficulty level as well.
Right.
Yep. So.
Yep. Good job stacking on. Tell us all about yourselves.
Come talk to us. Let's talk to you and see if we can get some other people to come.
Yeah. A meeting of the minds.
Games. Yes. Talk to you about your game design theories and why you want to build games like this. That'd be fantastic. And what other people can do to so on and so on.
Yeah.
Anything else about the Oids and their zones and their
I feel like we covered it.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else.
I am looking for. There it is. Turn this off. Our long game, as we know, is Hacker. I am guessing by some of the text you've sent me, you've started.
I am into Hacker at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll definitely talk about it.
Yep. It will be something we talk about.
It will be a topic of a conversation.
Fantastic. I can't wait.
Yep.
I
cannot set the bar any lower than that.
I am trying to pick, games that are going to be different this year. Not
yeah.
Just...
Well, mission accomplished.
All right. Our short game you will like a lot more. Defender of the Crown.
Good time. Great box art.
Great box art. Great game. I already know it's going to be a great game, but we will still play it and talk about it. It falls on that. It's not long enough to be a long game, but it's probably longer than a typical short game, so I made an executive decision and shoved it in short games.
Yeah, I think this month, I think Hacker also walks that line.
It does.
So I think we could possibly even swap these around and it would still make sense. It could go either way. So it'll be good though. It'll be a good time. I'm looking. I've never played Defender of the Crown.
Really?
But yeah, I've never played it. I know nothing about it.
Oh, I can't wait. I didn't know.
No.
I had no idea.
No. I'm excited though because I want to be a knight.
I'm so excited now. I'm so excited for you. This is fantastic.
It came on CD-ROM, so I know it's at least relatively new.
It came out for the Amiga. Is sort of the main thing. CinemaWare was known for trying to make movies into games, kind of thing.
Sure.
And they'd put their Amiga graphics, which were killer, and basically moved Amigas. Their stuff was so good.
Wow.
On all the boxes, and they're like, yeah, we did that, and we sold a couple Amiga games here and there but really our Amiga graphics sold Commodore 64 games because people are like, I want this, and then they get it home and go,
Oh, I don't have an Amiga. I have a Commodore 64. And it's always going to be a Commodore 64.
They still did good work. I mean, that sounds disparaging, but the Commodore 64 is just never going to have Amiga graphics. But the graphics for the Commodore 64 or whatever system they put it on were still very good. They still cared. They still did a good thing.
Yeah.
They had some interesting choices in IPs they purchased at the time, but this is not one of them. This is a good game. I am so happy. I wish I could have your experience right now of playing it for the first time.
I can't wait. I'm super excited now.
Yeah. And normally I'm trying to lower the bar, so just...
Right.
Yeah. Not this time. We'll see. He's going to come back.
I hated it. Yep. Worst game ever.
Worst game ever. So, all right. On that note, we'll just remind everybody Thursday, more Deathlord.
More Deathlord, probably a little more grinding. It was a great time last time. We had a blast. It was a lot of grinding. We're probably going to have to grind a little bit more, and then we're going to do something else that's not grinding.
Not grinding.
We don't know what yet, but
we need to keep the thing moving. We're trying to be respectful of everyone's time and not just grind for days and days.
Right.
But
Yep.
We should plan another marathon day sometime soon.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Give me an excuse to take a day off work anytime.
All right. We'll look into that sometime. In the meantime, thanks everybody for watching and all that stuff. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Big thank you to all of you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, suggesting games, commenting on our videos, or supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate all of your support and look forward to sharing many more videos with you. Thank you again.